Hello and welcome. Let me introduce myself a little bit. My name is Seth and I have 800,000 Yasuo points and a 37% win rate in Gold 3. So I figured who better to give you a Yasuo guide than myself. So welcome to
Yasuo, the Unforgiven.
Let's start with his passive, Way of the Wanderer. Yasuo gets a 150% crit chance from items, meaning a Cloak of Agility gives 38% crit chance, instead of the regular 15%. His crits also do 10% less damage. Second part of his passive is that his resource bar is called Flow. It's just a shoot that charges up when you move. Moving on to his Q. Stab. Yasuo stabs in a straight line, hopefully hitting something. When he does and he stabs once more, he builds up a tornado in his sword, don't ask me how. Stabbing for a third time will shoot a tornado and knocking everyone up that gets hit by it. Great ability and the cooldown is short. It also gets reduced by attack speed. Overall, solid 9 out of 10. It's not a 10 because it's not a click shot. Next up is his W, Wind Wall. Yasuo slices the floor and somehow a wall of wind is formed. The wall is stationary and it blocks every projectile that comes in contact with it. And if it doesn't, it's probably bugged. Overall, it's very fun to see people rage when you block the ultimate, 10 out of 10. Next up is his E, Dash. You click an enemy target and you dash through it. Very simple. Dashing with E also builds up your flow passive, which is pretty cool. However, the coolest part is that you can use this to go over walls, using jungle camps. But don't rely on it, since you'll most likely fail it anyways. There is more to the dash, however. If you use your dash and accidentally press your stab button as well, you will make a circle. The circle deals the same amount of damage to a target, but in an area around you instead. Do this with your third stab, the tornado, and you will knock everything up in the circle around you. This move leads to like crazy combos you might have heard about, like the Beyblade, the Keyblade, whatever else there is. But I'm not gonna get into the high level mechanics in this video. All you need to know is that you can spin during your dash. Very cool. Overall, it's very fun to use, and you get yourself killed because you keep dashing around. 9 out of 10. Not a 10 because I keep failing the wall dashes. Now to his ultimate. Last Breath. After a champion is knocked up and you manage to hit level 6, you can finally use your ult. You dash to a knocked up target, positioning yourself straight in the enemy team, make some cool anime moves where you can't do anything for 1 second, and land again dealing quite a bit of damage, giving you your flow passive shoot and getting 50% bonus armor penetration for a few seconds. But you can build great combos around Yasuo with this ultimate, most notably Malphite ult, Orianna ult, Wukong ult, you name it. Pretty much anything with a knockup. But that's Fantasyland, and most of the time you end up with a comp like this, where you're the only knockup in your team. We're moving on to his runes. You'll be taking lethal tempo pretty much always, I'm pretty sure, since it reduces the cooldown of your Q when it's stacked. As for the rest of the tree, you'll be taking Triumph, because the other two options are dead. You'll be taking Legend Alacrity, because attack speed, we love attack speed, and it's free. And as for the last one, we'd like Last Stand, because you're always low HP when you're playing Yasuo. As for the second part of the tree, we'll take Resolve with Bone Plating, because it's pretty much a get out of jail free card when trading. And we'll take either Unflinching or Revitalize, depending if they have a lot of CC or not. As for the minor ones, Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and Armor Magic Resist, depending on what you're playing against. Or if you're feeling spicy, you can take HP. There are probably some other builds and variants, but honestly, I have no clue. This is what I play with and it seems to work fine. Items. 9 out of 10 times, we want to start with a good old Doran's Blade with a potion. But there's an argument to be made to also start with a Doran's Shield. That really depends on how much poke they have in lane. As for our first back, if you have the money, you would ideally get a Berserker's Greaves. Why? Because you can reduce cooldown on your Q because of the attack speed, and you reduce the cooldown of your E because it skills with movement speed. So it's a very good item to pick up early. As for our mythic, we would like to buy Shupo. There are arguments to be made for Gale Force maybe, but that's just for the montage videos. Don't actually buy it. Kraken Slayer is also kind of shit. The Shupo. Why Shupo? Because it increases your survivability, and if you live longer, you deal more damage. For our second item, we go with Infinity Edge most of the time. Why? For starters, you'll be at a 100% crit chance because of it, but the other one is, it will increase your damage so much because of the passive, and the flat attack damage you get from it as well. Very good item, get it at second, and at this point, you're pretty much full build already on Yasuo. From here, you can mismatch whatever you want to buy. You want more survivability? Death Stance. Probably always a good choice to get. The other options are Mortal Reminder, if you really need the upgraded Grievous wounds from it. Otherwise, you're fine with just an Executioner's Calling. Or you can go either a Guardian Angel or Bloodthirster. Hey, I see a lot of Yasuo running around with Blade of the Ruined King. Yes, you buy this item if you're snowballing, if you're very far ahead or you're against a heavy tank comp. Otherwise, stay away from this item. That's at least what I think. Also, Wit's End, very good item. You can get as one of your last items if they have a lot of magic damage champions, but most of the time you're fine with death stance and you can opt in for a Guardian Angel instead, or a Bloodthirster, or all you just need to know, you can go wild whatever you want with the last 3 items. There are some recommended paths, but do what you feel like is the best for the situation. However, do not, I repeat, do not buy AP items or pure tank items. They are ass. Moving on to gameplay. Start off with the early game. Yasuo's early game isn't great, but it's not terrible either. You can either stab the minions and push it into the tower, which is very fun to do, but you'll get camped every game. Or you can wait for your opponent to push and try to dash through all the minions to trade with them. Against most champions you will win this, but there are some you do not touch. My preference, keep shoving it in and get camped and complain. Moving on to the mid game. Once you get like an item or 2, you're good to go. First, you migrate to bot lane. The tower done for or for some other reason. I won't get into detail here, but it's generally a good thing to go in side lane. At this point in time, you can 1v1 most of the champions, or even 2v1 if they don't have a lot of CC. Your goal for here, keep pushing the side lane for more gold and maybe get a kill. And then we go into the late game. If somehow your game managed to last longer than 25 or 30 minutes, congratulations, then you are into the late game. You should have a bunch of items now. You push in more waves and fight for Baron or the Dragon. Just make sure you're never the first one to go in or you will die instantly and achieve nothing. Wait for some guys to throw out some other CC and then you go in. There is, however, one exception to this rule, and that is if you see 3 or more lines to ult on. It's almost law to take this, even if it means losing the game. But that's all from me. Thank you for watching and I hope you learned something useful.